Before we can begin bringing in CSS, we're going to need to go ahead and learn how to put CSS and HTML files together. To do this, we're going to create some practice files, and then we're going to do it with our actual foods website. So first, in Dreamweaver, we're going to create a new HTML. So let's go to Create New, and let's choose HTML. We're then going to hit Create, and we're going to go ahead and put in a couple of items here. The first thing we're going to do is go down to the body tag, and we're just going to put an H1 tag of example heading. We're then going to do the second H1 tag right below it to show a second example heading. To do this, we are going to go ahead and first talk about the three ways we can put in our styles. The first way is to put it with the actual HTML code inside of it. That means that when you create a parent tag, you can actually apply a style to it. You may have seen this before when you're looking at any sort of coding where it says like style is equal to. So remember when we were talking about when we could code a shirt. So we made a shirt. And if I wanted the shirt to exist, and I wanted to say, for instance, that it was going to have a style of t-shirt, I could put a style equal to a t-shirt, and that's an attribute. Then I could go ahead and say color is equal to yellow. Notice that I'm putting these attributes inside the parent tag and not the closing tag. So that's kind of the same thing we're going to do here, but for our first heading 1. For our first heading 1, we are going to specify what we want it to look like. So let's say we just want to make it the color red. We're going to go ahead and specify a style because CSS is a cascading style sheet. It's applying a style and cascading it throughout the whole page. In this case, we're applying a style to only this first H1. So we're going to say the style is equal to this. Then here's the difference. We applied different attributes for this shirt with different values. So style is an attribute and color is an attribute. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and delete the shirt because that was just an example and it's not really actually a code. In this case, we're going to specify a style inside of these quotation marks. And this is where we're going to switch from HTML coding to CSS coding syntax. When you use the attribute of style, you're telling the computer and the browser, okay, I'm not going to type in HTML anymore. Inside of these quotation marks, I'm now going to be specifying the CSS, showing you the style that I want applied to the parent tag of the H1. So we switch over to CSS once we're in the quotation marks, saying something like color, colon, red, semicolon. Notice that you're using your CSS syntax. Imagine this almost like being inside the squiggly brackets, but instead of being in the squiggly brackets, you're now inside the quotation marks of this inline style. You'll then see that magically the heading 1 is red, not magically, but you know, and we now applied that style. Now let's say we want to apply a second declaration for a different value and property. This is where we could do something like font family, colon, of Comic Sans MS, semicolon. You're then going to see that that applies. So notice that this isn't super clean because everything needs to be written inside of these quotation marks. And we could hit enter in between, but then that starts to really break it up. And it's not very clean. In addition, it's not cascading. What that means is that this second H1 is not getting these same attributes and values. It's not having these properties applied. So in order for this H1 to have these properties applied, we'd have to go into the H1 tag and apply the style again. So it's very important that you note when you're creating an attribute like this, that you're doing an inline style that would be special only for this case. Like it's a once in a lifetime thing you would want to change. And that's how you can apply a style here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save this. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to go to my folder for Digital Design 1. I'm going to create a new folder inside my Digital Design 1 of practice pages, just so I can have a folder of practicing. And here I'm going to put style sheet sheet underscore examples and save that. So it's called style sheet underscore examples. Remember, all lowercase, no spaces, and we now have that there. And then in the next video, we're going to talk about how you can, instead of putting it straight inside the coding, you can actually put it outside of the body and inside of the head tag instead to make it a little bit cleaner and for it to cascade.